Indexing.
Welcome to discussion session of Tuesday, July 22nd. Our acting chair will be here in a moment, so I'll be the acting chair. Let's start with a review of tonight's agenda. Manager McGill, please.
Thank you, Commissioner Silverman. Tonight we have a relatively short agenda. We just have the consideration of an appointment to the Civic Engagement Board and also the consideration of the appointment of junior commissioners for the fall and spring semesters. We covered the agenda.
Yeah.
We're all done?
You went really slow.
First up, we have municipal staff then, correct?
Yeah, we do.
Excellent.
So this little bit of background, we are currently in the middle of a compensation study that was approved as part of this year's budget. We try to do those every 5 years. We're actually a year late because we had a transition in the HR position. So tonight, we're looking to get some direction for the commission, from the commission, and to allow us to proceed with that study. So, but Andrew and Ian.
Thank you, Manager McGill. As Manager McGill mentioned, the last salary study that we did was in 2019. At that time, we made a fairly significant overall shift in the overall kind of structure of municipal salaries, going from a point-based scaled system to a pay grade tiered system. And when we did that, we did a comparison with market to make sure that the positions as we had them defined were in line with where the market for those positions were. So as part of this study, we also did a new market study to compare where our current positions are in relation to, I'll say, market values of comparable communities. And the communities, not just Western Pennsylvania, we also surveyed some in Ohio that were comparable, some in Eastern Pennsylvania. So tried to get ones that were similar to ours to determine where we sit in relation to market. So back in 2019, 2020, when we did the last update to the overall salary structure, the commission had given the direction from a policy standpoint that the commission wanted the municipal salaries to target the 75th percentile of the market number for kind of where we sort of averaged out. That the commission at the time said, you know, we didn't want to be the highest paying municipality of the comparable communities, but because of the breadth of services that we offer, the professionalism of staff that we demand, the high quality of public service, and the ability that we wanted to be able to attract quality talent when positions turned over, the goal was to be above average. So average being kind of the 50th percentile. So the commission set kind of the target of the 75th percentile. So for this study that's happening now, we've done the market analysis. So we know kind of where our positions are in relation to market, but we need some direction from the commission, whether that's reiterating that policy from 2020 of staying at the 75th percentile or working with another number for how we're going to implement the salary study. So we included in your packets a little chart that basically each dot represents a full-time position to kind of show there are some above, some currently below the 75th percentile line. So the decision point for the commission tonight that we're looking for is, do you want to keep that 75th percentile as kind of our target goal for where to shoot for, or do you want us to move that line to a different number?
For our vast television audience, when you say comparable by population, by it's urban, it's what is comparable defined as, just for anybody who's paying attention?
Kind of all of the above. So it's based on population, budget size, scope of services offered, some other, you know, we tried to look around too for other municipalities that offered similar things, because we have some positions that some other municipalities don't have, or, you know, so we tried to, you know, get a broad scope of, you know, this wasn't just based on 2 or 3 communities. There were several communities that responded to the survey that we have data from to be able to make this structure. But it was, I'll say, more in line with the like Upper St. Clairs and Cranberries of the world that are similar to us, versus not so much the Baldwin Townships or Dormont's.
All right, well, that gives some perspective for,
Yes.
the audience, so.
Is this total compensation or salary, just salary?
This is base salary, correct? Yes.
How do we understand total compensation?
Yeah, we've looked at that as well as sort of part of this is what are the other benefits that we offer as well. And we do have a pretty competitive benefit package in line with what a lot of other communities offer.
We asked that of the consultant, and that was not a service that they recommended going down. It's too disparate in the municipal space to do one-to-one apples-to-apples comparison, whereas the salary really gets you to that point, and then you can kind of do it yourself thereafter. We have plenty of other market data from around us, whether it be similar sized communities, similar budget-wise, or other, that come from other studies that we know, plus we can see all the things that we have within the municipality too, with our bargaining contracts too. So we have the internal equity side too, that we have to play with as well.
Yeah.
But on a base salary side, just so you know, we did ask that question, can we compare more total compensation, PTO, pension, all those different things? We could go down that path ourselves at a later, but we needed to start with the base salary. The only other thing I'll add to this, so you see on the chart, I don't know if there's any questions on that, but where the data, really what it told us is things happened since 2019, and the big one being the market shift in 2020 with COVID. So this is really a right set for us that needs to happen for us to really be competitive with the positions that we have coming forward. We're seeing that more and more with the talent that we're getting, that we need to kind of raise the bar a little bit, and that's what this chart really tells us.
I'm personally comfortable with remaining at 75%.
I am
think
fine
that
with 75%.
It's a good target. I think it reflects accurately that where we want to be, that we value staff, and that we, and to your point, that we provide high quality service to our residents.
So you'll see this in the budget process.
75% as well, so.
Okay. Yeah, you'll see this in the budget process as we move forward. We will handle it the same way we did last time with the parameters set by the commission, that the manager, myself, and Ian will move forward with the budget process according to those provisions.
Sounds good.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you very much.
We have Rachel to present on the magazine.
Good evening, Rachel.
Hi, everybody. For our vast television audience, Rachel Windsor is the assistant PIO and the online editor for our magazine products. And this project has been her baby. She's been the project manager and she's done a great job. So she's here to tell you all about it.
So thank you for funding the project last year during the budget process. As you may recall, the last time the website was updated was in 2016. We've had the website for lebomag.com since 2011. So a lot of the features that we had until the update were really a little bit out of date and also not as accessible as they should be for users. So we wanted to really give it that refreshed, modern, and accessible feel. So the refresh was officially completed on Friday. You can see it up there on the screen. So we have a brand new website, and it's definitely a lot more modern, clean, easier to read. The layout and visual elements are a little bit more intuitive and engaging for people that are visiting the site. And it's a lot more responsive on mobile than it was previously, which is really important since most people are, or at least a vast portion of the people that are accessing the website are doing it from a mobile device or a tablet. So some of the changes that you'll see here, one of the big ones is we wanted to really make this a little bit more readable for people. So you can see that we asked Craycoff, the designers, to make sure that all of the color palettes and the texts and font sizes were appropriate for people that may have visual impairments or just have a harder time reading. There's a lot of accessibility elements that were built into the website, so it's better able to adjust to screen reader technology, which is basically if somebody needs assisted technology to read aloud to them because they can't visually see what's on the website, it's able to pick that up a lot better. It's more responsive. It conveys it in the proper tone. So that's a change from what we had previously. It's also a little bit more tied in with our municipal site now. You'll notice that some of these colors, like this blue here, we have it throughout the site. That's similar to one of the blues and greens that's on the municipal website. The fonts are from the same font family. We incorporated the stamp in different places on the website. We have better features for like the different municipal tie-ins between the magazines. So before, the featured video was just like a really small slider on the side of the website. Now we'll be able to feature stuff like the new municipal video that we made. So overall, it's definitely tying in a lot better with the municipal news site that we have. So it was a good time to update it because it's able to bring it really in line with what we were doing with the municipal side. In addition, you'll see in September, we've done a little bit of a soft redesign of the print magazine as well. So it was a good time to get everything updated as a complete package to really showcase the brand, keep it cohesive, and really emphasize that this is the Mount Lebanon magazine that's produced by the municipality. It's not a separate entity, and really showcase that to readers. So, yeah, I think that's most of the explanation of the changes here, but also visually, it's just a lot nicer to look at. Yeah. So, just wanted to say thank you again to Craycoff Communications. They came in at the budget that we requested. They were great to work with since we've worked with them before on website projects. Our art staff, Amy Robinson and Chris Leeper, were great with coordinating with myself and Laura and Craycoff. Yeah, and so thank you so much for funding this and
Rachel,
hope it's
when I was
helpful.
Previewing this a little earlier today. Is there separate call outs now for the podcast that we do?
So yeah, the podcast is down. This is the footer of the website, but it's in this menu down here. We have this big feature of it on the homepage, which is really great. You can actually listen to it on the homepage without even opening something else. Great. And then, yeah, it has its own page on the website. If you go to the menu, yeah, it's the second thing up here.
I know those have been very popular, especially depending on what time of the year it is. If we have people that look for snow removal, or we have all of those things that are sort of seasonal in nature, but good to have at your fingertips.
And Rudy really is a star.
Oh yeah, our leaf removal podcast, that's always at the top.
It's a big one.
They now earn staff can earn a 5-timer shirt, just like the
I love it.
jacket on Saturday Night
That's
Live.
great.
And they surprisingly competitive, not only with that, but also with the number of hits. It's like, well, how many did you get?
Wow.
Who all has one?
Andrew has one. I think Eric has one. Rudy. Yeah.
Rudy.
All right, come on, slackers, let's go. Go for that 5-time shirt.
Excellent, excellent.
It's great.
Anybody have any questions?
No, I like it a lot.
Looks very nice.
I find that I read more of the magazine from that, and especially the things that pop up on Facebook. I'm always clicking on them and reading them.
Well, Rachel and Marcia and Ella,
Yeah.
our summer intern, have been doing a great job with, breaking news coverage, live
Yeah,
coverage
yeah.
that we, can't get into the magazine.
It doesn't go in the
Deadlines.
magazine. I noticed that. I was like, look at this.
Good stuff.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Chief, I think you're up next.
While Kurt's making his way up, this particular discussion session item was something that we had talked about when we went through the assessment center
Yeah,
process.
yeah.
When we were selecting our next chief. And Commissioner Grella reminded me that, we wanted to make sure that the new chief was aware of some of those I'll say initiatives or suggestions that were made during the process. So when I sat down initially and met with Kurt to go over his one-year plan, I purposely included those, some of those. And Kurt's going to provide us tonight with an update on some of those things that we heard during that assessment center process.
Well, thank you all, to all the commissioners, Manager McGill, for allowing me to present the update on the initiatives from the assessment center. So there's a total of 5 initiatives. Each of the candidates had, so kind of like a background for this, we had to develop a fire department and present a fire department problem, and it does not look like that, Andrew, or, sorry.
I think you're having flashbacks to the process.
Yeah, there we go. Now it looks better. All right, thank you. So we had to develop and present a fire department problem and solution to the 3 assessors, and one of them was the union, identified as the union president. The other one was the volunteer fire department president and the operations chief. We had 20 minutes to develop and sell an idea. We had 5 great ideas. They were totally different, all different sides of the spectrum for those of you that weren't in the room whenever that occurred. And so I was asked to investigate and implement the new programs if practical, so here we are. So initiative number 1, this was improving the safety culture of the fire department. So the program has been developed and it has already been implemented. So I'll kind of show you what happens, but there's a QR code. They're all over the fire station. So one of the challenges that we have is that it has to be, in order for somebody to identify and tell us about a problem, it has to be fast. So we put these QR codes all over the fire station, and you can snap the picture, and the QR code takes you to a SharePoint site where only 2 people see them, myself and the safety committee chairperson. So that it's 100% anonymous. The challenge with this is that we have to change a behavior. So the changing of the behavior is that people feel that if they identify a near miss, or they feel like they're telling on themselves. And that's not the intent of the program. The intent of the program is to find problems and fix them so that it doesn't occur to multiple people, right? So this is kind of what it looks like. So there's a QR code all over the fire station. You take that QR code, and I apologize about the size, but it talks, a short description, where it is or where that problem is, the status of it. So if it's a tripping hazard, an extension cord that was laying on the ground or whatever, it was a tripping hazard, and you fix it, you still document it, but you say that it was fixed. If it's not something that's fixed, then the safety committee can kind of take over. And then there's some stuff for the safety committee to do below. So sometimes these safety problems need investigated or further review, especially near misses. So for instance, we had a near miss involving an electric line that happened on a car crash. And Commissioner Flynn's very well aware of that one because I believe he was there for that. So it was identified, we investigated, and we maybe changed the way that we do something, or change a process, or a standard operating procedure to correct that deficiency.
Given that this happened out in the field, I guess what, they hit the QR code when they go back to the station?
Whenever they got back to the station, yeah. So that's the intent of this program, and I'm just going to go back. So we're about 75% complete. We've had about 5 since the inception of it, so 5 people have identified near misses, and we've corrected, about 75% of them. A couple of them need more than we can handle. Maybe facilities needs to take care of something.
You mentioned anonymous. When you say 5 people, or is just 5?
5 deficiencies, yeah.
Reports. So it
Yeah,
could be
5
the same
reports,
person
yeah.
5
It could have been the
times.
same, yes. Could have been the same person, correct.
It was Andrew.
So much for the anonymous part.
So,
I was probably the problem.
no, he was not part of the problem. I mean, things happen out in the field,
Sure.
things happen in the fire
Yeah.
station, you know, and sometimes we just kind of walk past them. So for instance, lighting. So lighting in the apparatus bays, you know, when one light goes out, nobody really says anything. When two lights go out, nobody really says anything, but whenever you have multiple lights out, then somebody says something, but now we're 7 lights deep. You know, so that's the kind of things that we're trying to pick up and tracks are trending, you know, and trying to correct those problems before they become problems. Probably the best one, as an example, and it happened whenever the building was built, is that we had multiple slip, trips, and falls. And it was attributed to the original coating of the apparatus bay floor. It was an epoxy and it was very slippery whenever it got wet.
Sure.
So unfortunately, several people got injured and then we fixed that. But that's kind of the things that we're looking for.
Has it been well received to this point?
It's been well received. Like I said, it takes a little bit of push to get people to do it sometimes. But once you get them to understand that it is not, they're not gonna get in trouble.
punitive.
Yeah, it's not punitive. They're not gonna get in trouble for it.
Right. Yeah.
So that's initiative number 1. Initiative number 2, driver operator training program. So we do have volunteers that drive for us. The challenge is that they are all getting older and some of them have retired out and we haven't really replaced them. So far what we've done. So some of the benefits of this program, it kind of frees up career staff. So if the career staff is driving the fire truck, that they're stuck at the fire truck, they can't do what, you know, they're supposed to do, which is operate at the scene or be in charge or whatever they need to do at the scene of an emergency. So it helps out to free them up to do stuff at the fire scenes. The other thing that it does is it helps out with our outreach programs. So block parties,
Oh, sure.
First Friday, or
Yeah.
Final Fridays. You know, what we do, we call it wet down, you know, at the schools whenever we, bring the fire truck out to the schools or whatever. So it really helps out with a lot of those. So the first step was the driver operator training program needed to be revamped and, you know, evaluated to make sure it was meeting the needs of the department. That has been done by the training division. So the last class of operators graduated about 4 years ago, and 2 of them left to go other places in life. So they're no longer with us. So we only have 2 from the last class. So the training program, or the training division rewrote the program, and one of the things that we had to do was we had to kind of poll the volunteers for interest. So, are you interested in doing this program? They have to understand that it's a pretty significant time commitment to do the program. We have to do CDL training, and that's become a challenge now throughout the Commonwealth with the CDL program. You have to get people trained to actually present the program and then get them certified, and then get the folks that are driving the fire trucks to get their CDL. So that's like just one step of the program. Then there's a whole bunch of training on how to operate pumps, how to operate the aerial ladder, and then we do individual training on each fire apparatus that we have. So they spend probably about a month to a month and a half on each fire apparatus and the unique challenges of those individual fire apparatus. So we updated it to the current standards and industry practices. We have polled and find out the interest level from the current firefighters. And they started planning, they're gonna start at the beginning of the year, they're going to start doing the CDL test, or the CDL training. So it'll be started in the beginning of next year. And one of the things we have to do is we have to host these classes because sometimes you can't find them. Pump operations, aerial apparatus operations, we're gonna have to host them. So, but we do have a training program through Bucks County Community College that can handle all of that. In your package, you got what the enabling objectives were, the ones that we're gonna be working on or implementing and training the program. The rest of them are already in process. And, like I said, the biggest problem here is the significant time commitment. And the other challenge with it is if you're the apparatus operator, you don't get to go into the fire anymore.
Yeah.
That's the, you don't get to do what I'm going to call the
Stuff you signed up for.
bread and butter of the stuff that you signed up for, yeah. Commissioner Flynn, sorry, you had a question?
How many people expressed interest?
5. We've had 5 express interest. Now,
Seems pretty good.
there are some initial requirements. So we require them to be a firefighter for a minimum of 3 years so that they understand that the problems that can occur on a fire ground and why you need to understand the pump operations part. So there's the 3 years is the main qualification to start the program.
I was wondering, as you mentioned, you're driving the truck and then you have to stay with the vehicle.
Yeah.
That absent that 3 year, you have to know something about fighting fires.
Yes.
Is it drawing a different type of, someone says, I want to drive the truck, not necessarily I want to fight the fire. Maybe it's drawing from a different group of people.
What we've found in the past is that it's normally firefighters that came in and they wanted to be a firefighter, and then maybe the physical limitations, whether it's age or,
Right, sure.
yeah,
That's what I would think.
yeah, they say, hey, I want to slow down a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't want to be pulling the hose through a house anymore. I want to maybe go into the operator program.
Oh, okay, it's interesting.
Bad knees and all that fun stuff.
Well, in the past, we've had volunteer firefighters that were public works employees.
Yes,
So
Oh.
they had their CDL.
Yeah.
yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So, Ray Bickler, Charlie Weirham.
Wareham.
Charlie Weirham was one of them. He was an operator, but because of his, his age and his physical condition, he had to
Sure.
pull back from operating the fire trucks now, so.
Interesting. Is there an upper limit for drive the trucks? I don't know what they're like if it's, I don't know. I've never turned the steering wheel, so I don't know if like you have to have certain shoulder mass to
So
do
believe
this,
it or
or-
not, they're kind of like driving a Cadillac anymore.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they have power, they have power
I do it, but I got a rotator cuff injury, whatever else.
They have power steering, they have rear backup cameras, and it's all required by the National Fire Protection Agency to even buy a fire truck, so.
Okay, interesting.
The hardest part about it, to be honest with you, is that it's not like driving a car. You're actually sitting in front of the
Sure.
turning wheels.
Yeah.
The
Oh, yeah.
perspective is very, okay, interesting.
That's about the only challenge, the main difference, and the weight, of course. All right, so that is the driver operator program.
Okay.
The third one, which we'll probably spend a good bit of time on, is the callback participation. So as part of accreditation, we have what we call a response model. And the response model is that we still respond from home to calls. So it depends on the time of day and the risk on when we call folks out. So if it's a commercial fire alarm at the Galleria at 3 o'clock in the morning, there's not really a life hazard there, right?
Right,
So
right.
we take that response a little bit differently with
Sure.
less firefighters. So we'll send 3 firefighters to that fire alarm off.
Yeah, sure.
If it's a commercial building during the day, and everybody's awake and mobile, we take that call a little bit differently too, because they can self-evacuate, right? So if it was a bank or whatever, we would send 3 people to that. But our biggest life, our biggest life hazard in Mount Lebanon is between 11 PM and 7 AM in residential buildings or residential apartment buildings as well.
Sure.
So we take a pretty bold stance on those and say, we're gonna get a lot of people there really quick. So we do what's called callbacks. So the volunteers are separated into 4 groups, and we can do what's called a group recall. So we bring back just a quarter of the volunteers, and it's really to staff the next call. So if the on-duty crew is on an EMS call and they're tied up, they cannot immediately respond to another call, we'll do the group recall, we'll bring back some folks to handle another call if we get it. And then we have something called an all-call, and an all-call is where it calls back everybody. And that's what we
Sure.
do for those
Sure.
residential,
Yeah.
high life hazard buildings.
Sure.
So in the past, we've had our career staff is able to come back to all of them. And in the past, most of our career staff responded back. But society has changed, and not so many career folks come back anymore. We can't force them to come back. And we give them 1 hour of overtime for every hour that they're there, so that it's one for one. So this initiative was really to increase the career callback participation. So get more people to come back so that we can cover those calls. So there was kind of two parts to this initiative. The first one was making a requirement for a certain amount of callbacks for promotions. So if you were going to promote from a lieutenant to a deputy chief, then you were required to make this many callbacks. Although good, the union did not, so I kind of pulled the union about a couple of these. They were not real keen on that idea. And that one would require us to change the civil service rules, because that's actually defined in the civil service rules on what is required to promote. So that one's kind of the first part of the idea. Oh, well, that's the second part of the idea that was on here on my sheet. But so the other one was to increase the compensation from 1 hour to a minimum of 3. So in the paper that I gave you guys, it kind of lays out the cost and the difference, but I want to be really clear that this is as it stands today. We cannot extrapolate out if the initiative works.
Sure.
So what I mean by that is, so the numbers here, 1 hour is the current at $99,000 per year, and that's the numbers between 11 p.m. and 7 a.m.
Okay.
And then it goes up to 108,000 for the 2 hours, 117 for 3 hours, and then I did the 4 hours because that's what police and public works are, is a 4-hour minimum call out. So although it doesn't seem like a whole lot, right now we are averaging 1 career person that comes back to a callback. So right now it'd be like one hour for 3 hours. If the incentive works, and let's just say we get 3 firefighters to come back, that's 9 hours of
sure.
overtime versus 1.
One.
So that, it's almost exponential.
Sure, sure.
So if it works, it's great, but it would increase that overtime budget a whole lot. Along with that, we would naturally have to do an MOU with for the collective bargaining agreement, because the overtime is called out in the collective bargaining agreement. Again, we don't really know what the overall cost would be, because we can't extrapolate those numbers out. But the union did express interest in it, of course. Again, I talked to him and I just said, hey, I'm doing this. This was part of the assessment center, and I'm presenting. So, naturally there would be a lot of negotiation around the collective bargaining agreement with that one.
So Chief, who determines how many personnel you need on a callback?
Great question. So NFPA and our standards of cover, which we redo every year, the standards of cover identifies how many people we need for a residential structure fire, which is 15. And we call that critical tasking. So the critical tasking is you need 2 people on the fire attack, 1 pump operator, 1 incident commander. You need 2 people to search. 2 people to put up ladders, 2 people to pull a backup line, and 2 people to do what we call rapid intervention or firefighter rescue, like 2 in, 2 out rule
Right,
for
sure.
OSHA. So that's kind of where we get that from. So it's 15 for a residential, single-family dwelling, 27 firefighters for a commercial building, and then for like a high-rise, like 1150, 1160, 1170 Byron Hill Road, it's 36. Now, we augment that at fires with mutual aid as well. So
Yeah, I was
we
gonna
call
say,
Castle
yeah.
Shannon, Dormont, Upper St. Clair, and Bethel Park to meet
Right.
that number.
So, but the overtime numbers that you cited here would only be applicable to career.
Yes, correct. Yeah, it would only be applicable to career, correct.
So I think that's more the question, how many career people do you need to call back? And what mechanisms can you use to control that number? Because right now it's 18 career.
We have 18,
So call
or
it
16 that would
who could
Overtime
respond.
eligible.
that could
Yeah,
respond
overtime
overtime.
eligible.
And subtract 3 from that because they're on duty already. So you'd have 13 that were potentially able to get the overtime.
So do you have the ability to contain that on a particular incident in any way?
So that you
Control that number,
13,
right?
right?
So you're not getting 13
Yeah.
every time, you're getting,
Yeah,
I need 5, that's all I'm willing to pay.
that would have to be negotiated into the
Yeah.
collective bargaining agreement. Because we had to do the same thing with the group recalls where the group recalls, every career person is allowed to come back. There is one, I think that I might answer your question to another way. So the one challenge that we're gonna run into is, so let's just say that there's a call at 12 p.m., or I'm sorry, 12 a.m., so midnight. So technically that career firefighter is getting paid until 3 a.m. So they come back for that initial call. Chances are they are probably not gonna come back for the call at 1:30 or 2:30 a.m. because they're not gonna get an additional 3 hours. They're technically still on the clock.
Oh, I see, yeah.
So the one thing that I think we should ask for, if we go down this route, is that we pretty much require the union to have at least one firefighter come back to every callback. Because this may not, again, that problem that I just defined, that,
Right.
12 or midnight and 2:30 a.m., the chances are nobody would come back. And we actually see that. If we get multiple calls over the night, including the volunteers, a lot of people show up for the call at 1 a.m. and then at 3 a.m. it's like half of that number, and then at like 4:30 a.m. when we get the third call in the middle of the night, there's like one person showing up. So it happens already. But to answer your question, I'm not really sure of the mechanism to make sure that only so many people are, we can't, I don't know that we can necessarily limit how many people come back.
I don't know if you have to use the seniority roster, and then that make, okay, who's gonna then, okay, I'm only calling these top five names on the list. Did they show, did they not? Only 4 did. I go to the next person and call that part. I mean, imagine it's gonna.
So these are in like they're in emergencies, yeah, so.
Yeah, I can do that, and it's,
Goes
you
out to
know,
mass.
yeah.
Yeah, it has to, it's an emergency.
Because Public Works has a little bit different system in place wherein if they know that basically they're asking people if they want to work overtime, right? For woody waste pickup or something. That's a planned event.
Yes.
It's not.
Yeah, planned events, we already have this in process.
Yeah, exactly.
in place. Hey, thank you.
So, yeah, but those are all things, I guess, again, would have to sort of look at and work through this.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a pretty big and lengthy and broad topic, so.
I don't envy you your job.
Ah.
That's hard.
Number 4, this is volunteer EMS staffing, so I'm really excited about this one. Over the past probably 10 years, we've started doing QRS. And QRS is quick response, so we respond with the ambulance on anything that could be life-threatening. So shortness of breath, cardiac cases, anybody that's profuse
Choking.
bleeding, choking.
Blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
So we have 23 volunteers that over the past 10 years have gotten that EMT certification. And we want them to use that, right? So right now, if they're in the station, they can go on a QRS call. What this program would do is actually assign people or assign volunteers. So if we have 2 volunteers in the station that are EMT certified, they would go on the EMS call, and they would be responsible from the beginning to end of it, with no career firefighter supervision per se. We're all certified the same way, we're all trained the same way, it's just that, we want them to use their skills. So this would do a couple things. So number one is that the volunteers would handle the EMS call completely. So it would keep career staff back, or maybe if there's only one EMT, a career firefighter and an EMT would go on the call. No problem there. But it keeps a fire truck in service. So what we would do is we would outfit one of our squads or our SUVs
Okay, now you're talking my language.
to meet the QRS vehicle requirement standard. And now that vehicle goes on the call and we keep the miles off of the fire truck.
Yeah.
And it stays ready for a
Cheaper.
fire.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
just all along.
So right now, the reason why we can't really do it right now with that squad is because we have to be ready for the next call. So if the career
Sure.
staff goes out
Yeah.
and they go on an EMS call, yeah, they take that squad. Well, what happens if they get the fire on the way back?
Right.
And now they don't have the fire truck to go to the fire with. So that's kind of why we do it right now. So a couple of the not challenges with this, but a couple of the objectives here. Number one is we have to train the volunteers on the use of our records management system. So it's something that they have never done before, but that doesn't mean it's not impossible. They are going to get trained on that records management system in what we call the patient care report. And that is, it's kind of protected by HIPAA. So there's some HIPAA rules that go in there, but we have to train them on what's expected and what's required. And they're gonna write that report. And then the other part is that we're gonna work with Medical Rescue Team South to get them, and most of the ones that have just gone through the EMT program are already familiar with MRTSA. And they're people because they did ride-alongs with them. So we're gonna schedule for the other EMTs some ride-alongs so that they get comfortable with our EMT's skill levels. So that they feel a little bit more comfortable whenever they don't see a career firefighter on scene. With that, it was going to add another volunteer slot at night, an overnight slot. So we are gonna do a little bit of an incentive with this one. That was part of the initiative was instead of a $50 stipend at night, the EMT volunteer would get $75 per night. So we've actually started, we're gonna submit that as part of our proposed budget for the fire department. And the outcome of this is we leverage the volunteer EMTs a little bit better than we do now. Their skills are better, and we provide a better service to the end customer, which is our residents. Questions on that one?
So
Okay.
I want to make sure that MRTSA has bought into this because I think there is a concern of, and you know.
There
it.
is.
I know you do.
There is.
Yeah, so I think that has to be a big part of this is making sure that we've come together.
Yeah, Chief Turkle knows that this exists. He
Yes.
has not done anything with his staff yet, but he knows that this was the path that we're going. It doesn't really change the way that we operate now. It just
Right.
changes who we're operating with. And
Yeah,
that's kind of how
sure.
Chief Turkle and I had talked about it.
I just think, and has Doug been brought into it, DeForest?
Yeah, I'm sure that he has from
Yeah.
Chief Turkle. I would assume he was, but I'll verify with Chief Turkle.
Well, it's not changed, we're only responding to E0 calls.
Yeah,
I
yeah, it's not changing anything that we're
Frankly,
doing.
it's-
I understand.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to do is make sure that there's a really good communication between the two and that we keep there are many other people involved in MRTSA. And making sure that that understanding is there and they don't feel as if they're being taken over by us.
So I did mention this whenever I talked to their union a while ago, but
Good.
that, it was very conceptual back then.
Yeah.
And we were talking about using volunteers more. Again, it doesn't change how we respond, it just really changes who responds and what vehicle responds.
And sometimes you can get there faster, which is nice. Yet I think bringing their union head in is a really good guy, as you probably know.
Paramedic Coleman and I go back 30 years,
He's a really
so.
good guy. Just to make sure he's very clear on.
Yeah, I have the same concern.
Yeah.
We have an emergency meeting tomorrow night, so we'll have some conversations there, but it may be a wonderful synergy that overnight, there are a few ambulances on. In MRTSA, this is obviously overnight, so it may work out well just to make sure everybody's on.
Yeah, again, it doesn't, like, we would do the same thing tonight
Right.
as we do in this program, it's just who we're sending, that's it.
So MERTS is still responding to
Yeah,
that.
MERTS is still responding, yeah.
MERTS is
It's
always
just that the
responding.
interacting with the volunteer.
A different person, yeah.
Right, and not taking the truck, I think is very smart. Outfit a car for it. We have to prove this on budget. I don't think we should be talking to MRTSA about this until Kurt's had a chance to talk more with Turple and,
I mostly it's just tomorrow to have a conversation with Doug going, hey, have you talked to?
yeah.
And that might be the entire conversation to
Okay.
make sure that people are talking to each other.
There's also some synergies here between 3 and 4 in terms of, you pointed out, reducing callback.
Yeah, it would
Yes,
actually
yeah.
reduce the number of callbacks as well.
Yeah,
It would reduce
absolutely.
the numbers.
yeah.
All right, number 5.
Dun-dun.
Maybe everybody's not familiar, so I'll kind of explain what a Knox box is. So a Knox box, and you have one on the front of this building. As you walk past, like most people don't even recognize it, but it's a little square box, either black or gray that sits on the side of the building. And the fire department has a key to that box. Dormont has a Knox box key, but their key does not fit our box. Upper St. Clair has theirs, and their key doesn't fit our box, and ours doesn't fit theirs. So it's virtually the keys to the city, is what I've always said. So it is actually really nice. So the reason that we use these Knox boxes is so that we don't damage doors. You know, the doors out front maybe cost $70,000 or $7,000 if we would damage one for somebody that burned toast.
Right.
Or, or maybe a surge protector overloaded and short out caused a fire alarm, we see a little bit of smoke and we need to get in. So that's what the Knox boxes do. Chief Tomaszak from McKeesport actually recommended this one. And it involves residential Knox boxes. So we get calls a lot from concerned family members. So Mount Lebanon, very unique community, a lot of older residents that are sometimes prone to falling, and we get calls from their kids all the time saying, hey, I'm really worried about my parents. They're getting older. They have this life alert that says, help, I've fallen, I can't get up. But we can't get into the house. So over the years, we've had a bunch of different ways to do that. Like they've given us codes to garage doors.
Yeah.
They've given us like the location of the rock with the key in it. They've given us, some of them use a realtor
Yes.
lockbox,
Yeah,
and they give us
sure.
that code. But it's really cumbersome for the fire department
Yeah.
to have all these codes.
Which rock is it?
Yeah, so, I'm sorry?
It's a lot of rocks to
Yeah,
pick up.
that's a lot of rocks. So I'll show you like a brief synopsis of our pre-plan and what it would look like, because we do have a pre-plan software that we would put that into. But what happened over the years is that we had a key code for a garage door, at 123 Main Street, and it's been sold 3 times.
Yes.
And that code has changed, or the resident has changed, and it's still in our system.
Right.
So this residential Knox box is really neat. So one of the challenges that we have with residential Knox boxes. We could open it up on the, so whenever you go onto the Knox box website, you have to pick your state and then pick Mount Lebanon Fire Department, and it will allow you to purchase a Knox box. We have limited what you can purchase because the commercial buildings tried to buy the residential Knox boxes, which they were totally allowed to do on the website. So we've had to limit what they were allowed to buy. So if you go onto the Knox box website, you will not see a residential Knox box.
I've heard the commercials many times, and commercials like, and yada yada /15 to get 15% off. But I've never heard 15% off of what? So what do these typically cost?
So that's a great question. So it depends on the size. The residential Knox boxes cost about $200 to $300 depending on the model that you get. And there's only a couple models for residentials.
That's a flat cost for the box, not per year, it's
It's just a flat cost, yeah.
okay, all right, okay.
Yeah, so just a flat cost for the box. So what I'll do is I'll actually show you what the residential Knox box looks like. So I don't know why that. Wow, that's horrible. There you go. How about that? Oh, nope. It's just really, really slow. So the one on the left is the Knox box that you can, that we have recommended over the years. So if somebody calls and says they want to put a residential Knox box on their house, this is the one that we recommend and we approve for them, or give them permission to get it. So this one actually screws into their house, whether it's through a,
Brick.
yeah, through brick or whatever, and they choose where it is, and then they get the key, we come out, we open up the Knox box, we put their key in and lock it, and no one else can get into it. For Knox box, they have like a $50,000 warranty that says that no one will be able to get your key. So that's kind of like, yeah, it's pretty neat. So the one that we would recommend for this program, we're still gonna, if they wanna buy a Knox box, we're gonna send them to the website and they can get a Knox box.
Yeah, sure.
The initiative is to look at something that, like the one on the right up there, and it kind of hangs over the door. So front door, back door, it just hangs over the door. It's the same model, it's just attached, it doesn't get attached to the building.
Oh, okay.
So this would be for those individuals that have a high fall hazard and, you know, maybe elderly or whatever. And what the program would do is, it would be like a rental agreement, zero cost rental agreement, have to work with a solicitor. So the family would sign a rental agreement saying, yeah, I want to rent this from the fire department for my parents or whatever. And then naturally, whenever it's not needed anymore, they would turn it back in.
Sure.
Again, it's not a big cost, but it's something that we did not budget for last year. So we're going to be submitted into the 2026 budget. We're also looking for some small grants, corporate sponsorships that might offset this cost. Again, they're only about $250 to $300 a piece. So it's not a huge cost, but you know, Home Depot, maybe some locksmiths or whatever that maybe corporate sponsors we can do. And this really does save a lot of money.
I was actually thinking the hospitals, you know?
Hospital.
You know, you can't
Hospital's
get,
great.
yeah, I
I will-
mean, come on.
I'm putting that nugget into my brain, and I'll remember and I'll call the hospital.
St. Clair,
St. Clair Hospital, we'll
Yeah.
call tomorrow.
yeah,
Um,
I would,
So how this helps.
yeah.
Um,
I think it's a great idea, actually.
You said save dollars, and that got my attention, like, so
Yes.
how are we paying for this?
so,
Beyond the grants from the hospital.
yeah, Grants from the Hospital, that's a good one, and several other ones that we'll look at.
Yeah,
So this is kind of what it would look like. So two different ways. I could not pull up a 911 CAD. So Allegheny County 911 has something called computer-aided dispatching, and it populates on a screen in the police car, the ambulance, and the fire truck. So it tells us the address, it tells us what the problem is,
tells you where it is.
it tells, yeah, it kind of tells you where it's at, it gives you cross streets, bunches, and some caller info. But the one thing that we can do is we can add what's called a hazard flag on. So a hazard flag will populate on anything, and the police do it for, you know, maybe it's somebody that has a problem with authority, Or maybe it's, the fire department
I know
may.
it's on that
Hazard
list.
flag on my house.
Or maybe it's a problem, with whatever, maybe it's a dilapidated building or a
Sure,
vacant building that's
yeah.
falling down that we wanna
Right.
make sure nobody goes into.
Yeah.
We actually put a hazard flag on. So the fire department, the police department, or MRTSA can put on this hazard flag. And then, I think it's annually or every 6 months, we have to update it,
Yeah.
they send you an email, hey, is this still a hazard? So
It's interesting.
we have the ability to do that. So if police are going or the ambulance is going to a fall unknown status, it'll just say right in red ink, residential Knox box.
Right.
They'll know to call the fire department to get the key. And then on the fire department, we have a pre-planned software, it's called Flow, and we'll actually see a picture of the house, and naturally, I could not find one that had a residential Knox box, but it would have a little triangle up there with the exclamation point, and it would say residential Knox box. So right away, you're going there, you know that there's a Knox box.
Interesting.
So that program, we're developing the program right now. Got to work with a solicitor on that rental agreement. And then the allowing to purchase direct already exists. If they want to buy one on their own, that already exists. They just have to get our permission. We say yes. And then implementing it starting January 2026.
Chief, is there any cost savings to a resident if they purchase through the fire department?
There is not.
It's the same.
It's the same. It doesn't matter whether they go through the website or through us.
Very cool. I like that.
And that is the 5 initiatives.
Cool.
I feel like, I know you were talking about a zero cost rental agreement, but I feel like there should be something, not to make up back every dollar, but there should be something, is there's administrative expense to track all this?
There is.
So there should be some amount, like I would not throw out a dollar figure, but just think about some figure there.
We will think about some, I'll work with the solicitor to come up with a rental agreement. We'll come up with a number.
Okay.
The only fear that I have is we don't want to make it too much so that
Right.
it's like,
Trying to find that balance
People don't
between
do it,
the
right.
administrative cost
Absolutely.
versus people just say, oh, never mind. So, but I think it should be a number more than zero. After that, we'll see what-
question, do we have to add that? We'll have to add that to the fee schedule.
Yeah.
Well, if we establish a fee for it, then yes. That's relatively easy to do, and while we try to catch all of those as we go through the budget process, I have the ability to amend or add fees at any time.
Very good. Can I answer any other questions?
This was great. It was excellent. I really enjoyed it. It's well done, and it was good to get the update.
Well, thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thanks,
Thank
Chief.
you for yours.
Yeah, thanks, Chief.
We have about 14 minutes we can go through unless there are any board authority updates.
Chris Flynn, any updates?
No.
Tomorrow evening is the MRTSA meeting, and we'll be asked to vote on funding, the balance of the funding for the year for MRTSA, our municipal contributions. So letting the group know that's on the agenda.
Thank you. Commissioner Spike Wilson.
Nothing. Got nothing.
Resiliency, let's see, Eric with the commercial districts came and presented on the Uptown plan, which we all got the week before, but some good questions there. Everybody had a chance to weigh in. Crowell updated the committee on the Final Fridays going on, Uptown Market. Wasn't much on preservation. Let's see. One of the members, Chet Wade, did a nice presentation on stormwater and wants us to start to consider maybe what we can do to incentivize more residential stormwater capture. So that was a very good discussion. Sure, something that we will probably be discussing here at some point. And I think that
Good.
was wasn't that it for resiliency?
You need to give a quick update on planning, just so, no, but what happened at the planning board?
I was unable to attend. Were you able to make it this?
I had,
For the record, if you want to give a quick summary of the planning board.
The planning board heard an initial presentation from Horizon Properties Group for the property at the corner of Bower Hill and Washington Road. There was an application for land development, for subdivision, and for conditional use for an alternative parking plan. All three of those were tabled by the planning board to give the applicant time to address comments in the engineer's review letters.
And the process of tabling is not unusual.
No, it is not. Most projects get tabled the first time by the planning board because that's the first time,
Right.
the first formal submission that's made is the one for preliminary approval. So that's the first time the developer actually gets a full list of comments from municipal staff, from the engineer, all that. And I say engineer's review letter, but it's comments from staff, it's comments from the planning board, it's comments from the engineer. It all just gets put in one place for record-keeping purposes. So there were some comments, mostly of a technical nature, related to the plans, but tabled so that they can address those comments and hopefully come back to the board soon. So the ball's in their court.
Great, thank you.
Update again? I guess we have some time.
We can reconvene today.
You remain up.
Certainly.